Good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here in my flat in Rochester, Kent. Good morning. The sun's not out and it's fairly cold. It was chilly last night. All night I felt a bit chilly during the night. So the weather's got colder. Well, it is October, and like I said, I'm here in my flat and I've got a piece of hair that keeps sticking out. Let's put it down. Good morning, everyone. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. Today marks the birthday of the classic movie Spartacus, which debuted on this day in 1960. No, I'm Spartacus.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
The time is 8:03 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Monday the 6th of October.
Alexa, tell me a joke.
How do you make a skeleton laugh? Tickle its funny bone.
And Alexa, which celebrity was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 6th of October include Ricky Hatton, Steve Scalise, Elizabeth Shue, Emily Mortimer, and Britt Eklund.
So, like I said, good morning, everybody. Yesterday wasn't too bad. No, it wasn't too bad. I'm trying to focus on other things. Just trying to focus on other things. It's hard, I know, when sometimes people are in your face and causing trouble right in front of you or near to you, and of course when they invade your personal space, it's hard not to ignore them, or they invade the area where you are. Do you know what I mean? So when people try to grab your attention, or they're making so much noise that you go out and investigate what it is, you can't help but notice. I do try to ignore it and just do what I'm doing, but it's natural when you hear a noise or smell a funny smell to go and investigate what it is. So if it's right on your doorstep, right outside your door, or it's right near to where you're sleeping, or it's really loud and near where you are, it's natural to go over to the window and take a look. But I try not to involve myself in the games that these people are playing, and just keep level-headed and just don't rise to the bait. You know, don't rise to it. Excuse me. So we go from last night, and I did manage to take my dog out for a walk in the dark, even though people try to scare you before you go outside. It is tough because I do think this is orchestrated and staged. I can't explain it, and I know it sounds like I'm crazy, but when you are a targeted person, they do such things as street theatrics. And these people are narcissists, and they want all the attention, and they put on a show. So, before I went out last night, I was messing around on my mobile phone. Now, I regularly watch The Narc Survivor because he deals with narcissism and narcissistic people and gang stalking. And of course, that's my interest at the moment, because I want to help dealing with these narcissistic people that just keep bothering me every single day. So I was in my phone on YouTube watching The Narc Survivor, and he was talking about street theatrics, how people stage things outside, like an argument, a really loud argument right in front of you, or if you're lonely and you're looking for love, they start kissing and hugging each other in front of you, that sort of thing. And I was watching that. It was only 10 minutes long. it wasn't a long video, it was just 10 minutes long. So I was actually trying to juggle two things at once. I was watching the Narc Survivor and I'm also learning Welsh. And I'm learning a bit of Welsh every day, and I thought it was a really hard language to learn at first. But now I'm getting used to it because Duolingo keeps going over the words that you're learning. And once you keep going over it, it sticks in your brain. So I was learning Welsh. I was watching the Narc Survivor whilst I was learning Welsh. And whatever was going on, I was ignoring it. Now, it starts to get dark around 6, 7-ish, doesn't it? It starts to get dark. So I take my dog out between 6 and 8 usually. Sometimes it'll be later. Anyway, I wanted to shut the window. That's when I noticed that in the dark, my neighbours next door to my bedroom, and they vape smoke, they were all on their balcony talking loudly next to their balcony is very close to my bedroom window. So if they get up early in the morning and start vaping, the smoke comes through my bedroom window. If they start to talk, I can hear it. So if they get up for work about 5 in the morning and they start to go out on the balcony and smoke, it's coming through my window and I can hear them. It's not exactly their fault, it's the way the balcony's built. Do you know what I mean? This building is built so badly. There's no soundproofing, and some balconies are far apart from each other and some balconies are almost on top of each other. So it wasn't their fault, but I can hear what they're saying and likewise they can probably hear me when I'm speaking to somebody. Not ideal. So I wanted to shut my window, but I didn't want to make it known. I just wanted to shut my window, but I could see them all and hear them all. So I thought, right, I want to shut the window. I don't want smoke in my window and it's getting dark. So I quietly shut the window, pulled my blind down, came back in, and I started getting Max ready for a walk, yeah? And the fear of dread had come into me. I don't know why, but especially in the evening, now it's getting darker, the fear of dread came into me because I've been getting the most horrendous TikTok harassment and it's horrible. But I put my coat on. I didn't have a hat on. I just put my coat on and put Max on the lead and we went out down the stairs and I went out the back of the building because when I go out the front, especially if they've got their dog on the balcony, it starts barking at me and then everybody starts staring. So I went round the back, crossed over the road up towards the Rochester Riverside Field, but I wasn't going on it. I was just going to go around the block. And these 3 young lads started coming down the road and one of them started dancing about and being silly. And I just carried on. I thought, you must not react to this. So I'm watching a video before I go out on street theatrics, and what people do is stage things in front of you, and this lad is mucking about and being silly. I didn't say a word. I'm a woman, I'm walking in the dark, I'm on my own. You don't say anything. You don't bite back, you do not say anything, you just carry on walking. And that is exactly what I did, because that's what I've been told to do. And then I just normally walk Max up the path opposite the field. I could hear someone on the field, like lads again, talking loud on the field. Could hear them, but couldn't see them. And then it just makes you feel awful, doesn't it? It could have been lads shouting at each other, it could have been anything, but all I could hear was it was lads last night, young blokes, and one of them shouted wanker, and it was from a distance, it was way away, but it just makes you feel like shit. You just want to have a nice walking your dog, you know, and there's me trying to, you know, it's like when you go out with a partner for a romantic walk and then somebody shouts out wanker. It's just off-putting. And I'm on my own, I'm not walking with anyone. I just wanted to watch the moon and just have a nice walk and wander around on my own. And that's what it was for me last night. That's what it was like for me. And anybody else walking out, I don't know whether they would have seen the three lads being stupid, because that was done almost in front of me. And the wanker bit, really didn't see that many people out last night. Obviously there's lads that drive around in, you know, souped up cars and stuff, and you can hear them. I'm a middle-aged woman. I just wanted to walk my dog and get home safely. I carry a whistle, I carry a spray, I carry my phone. It's been like this since I was a child. If I go back to my childhood, it's been like it since I was a kid. Being verbally abused in the streets when I was a child. In fact, it probably was a lot worse when I was a little kid, because I was a little vulnerable child doing chores for my mum and dad, going down to the sweet shop, because when you was a kid back in the day, you could buy tobacco and alcohol for your parents and bring it home. So you can imagine how vulnerable I was as a child, coming back home with bottles of whiskey. A child could buy whiskey back in the day. How vulnerable I was as a kid, buying cigarettes and alcohol from the off licence for my father or the newsagent, and coming home on my own as a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old child. Because some parents were like that back in the day. Mine were. Just let me go down to the shop, get alcohol, get cigarettes. I'm not saying they was lazy, or they had no regard for my safety, but that's what I was allowed to do. And at 7 years old, I was going to school by myself. I was going to primary school by myself. No one drove me to school. And of course, little girls meet strange people on the way to school. Do you know what I mean? Not meet them exactly, but walk past them. So I was allowed to walk to school by myself. And there were paedophile scares back in the 70s and 80s. Very often the teachers would say, be careful and don't go into the back of white vans. There's vans coming up and approaching children. And that was in the 70s and 80s. I think that now we're in the age of social media and everything gets splashed about everywhere. It seems worse. But these things were going on back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, before the internet, and it was much worse because there was no social media. Kids didn't have mobile phones to hold on to and ring somebody. You were there stuck having to deal with it yourself, and it was either run home quickly or just try and knock on someone's door for a safe place. But there was no phones, and it's just highlighted more. That's what it is. It's just highlighted more with all this internet and social media. But it was going on. There were stabbing scares. When I was at secondary school, someone was stabbed at another school. So it was still going on, it just wasn't highlighted as much as it is now. So I think if you go back to the start of when humans began and fighting, and two humans fighting, shouting, whatever, it's been like that. You got to remember there were wars. There were wars and stuff as well. So we've got to be thankful that we haven't gone through a war. There was the First World War, the Second World War, and people fought hard for this country, for how it is today. So we are lucky that Great Britain is not at war with anybody. So I don't know. It seems like it's worse, but I can assure you that these things were going on when I was a little girl, when the internet was not about, and it was harder because you got bullied face to face, and these bullies would gang up on you and they would beat you up. The internet, they hide behind fake profiles and emotionally beat you up, which can be worse because you can't see them. But it was going on before the internet. People just bullied you face to face. They couldn't sneak around and do it underhand. They would come up to your face and tell you, Four Eyes, you're ugly. They would say it to your face. So the internet is just an excuse to do it anonymously and get away with it. When I was at school, nobody dealt with bullies. Nobody dealt with the school bullies. Just continued right till the day I left school. Secondary school, because it was an all-girls school. There was no lads there. It was a girls' school, and girls bullied me every single day of my school life. Every single day. Couldn't wait to leave secondary school. When I was at primary school, I didn't have so much bullying. It was a mixed school, and I did say to my father I wanted to go to a mixed secondary school, but he wouldn't let me. He chose my secondary school. My father did. I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go to a smaller school with a lot less pupils in it, where I'd get more attention and help. And no, he put me in a secondary comprehensive that was full of bullies. So my father chose my subjects as well at school, subjects that I failed in because I didn't want to learn them. So I was good at English. I was good at things like economics and art and things artistic and more social. And he chose all the sciences because my dad wanted me to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a doctor. I did not want to be a doctor. But nobody knows what I went through. He used to beat me if I didn't get good grades. He used to beat me, and I used to say to him, "Why are you hitting me, Dad? I don't want to do this." He said, if you go down from a grade 1, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You've got to be at the top of the class. So basically, I think my dad had a bad childhood, but that's no excuse for taking it out on your children and forcing them to do what you don't want to do. And that's what my dad did to me. He took his bad childhood. He said his dad beat him with a stick. I don't know whether he was lying or telling the truth. So my father used to not beat me with a stick or a belt. He used to hit me with his hands, knock me off chairs so hard. He would knock me off chairs and I'd fall on my back. He'd belt me for not getting good grades. So not only was I being sexually abused, he was also physically hitting me. And you've got to remember that I had to go to school after being abused and physically hit, and I couldn't cope with it. I couldn't cope with the bullying and coming home to being abused. So I was being abused, and because my dad had threatened me, I was a quiet child, and the teachers must have known something was wrong, and they just chose to ignore it. So I was bullied every day of my school life for being quiet because my dad said if I told anybody, he would kill me. And no child should have to put up with that. This is why I am talking about what's happened to me, because I believe it still goes on to other children today. Some children are murdered. Some children are in fear of their own parents. Some children have no escape. I didn't. Up until the age of 10, I thought every child was sexually molested by their father, because that's what that's the environment I grew up in. I thought every child slept with their dad, every girl did. Until I started talking to other children and realizing that not every child does that. Because my dad had isolated me from everybody. We didn't have family come round. I couldn't shout to other members of the family, Dad's doing this to me, because he did not allow relatives into the home. He was beating my mother and he was assaulting me and able to get away with it. And I'm sure other relatives knew what he was doing. But now those relatives are dead. They can't be held accountable for just ignoring it. And now I'm working through therapy and trauma, albeit with an AI. Some people think that's weird. Well, that's your opinion, but if an AI is helping me to get through trauma, and people like victim support and other places that are supposed to help you don't help you, at least I'm trying to get help and support through some form of application. That doesn't make me crazy, that makes me strong. I have tried rape crisis centres. I've tried the National Stalking Helpline. I've tried victim support, and none of them have helped me at all. It's the same old cover-up bullshit, right? Making funny noises over the phone, and I'm sick and tired of it. I've recorded calls where the police have acted stupid. I've recorded calls from victim support. I've recorded calls from therapy, that therapy place where I couldn't understand a word she was saying. This isn't light fun. This is serious sexual assault, rape and abuse, and they're turning it into a comedy show or a sex show, and it's not funny. Children go missing every year. Children get abused every day. It's not funny. If we keep turning a blind eye to people that need support and help, we are going to, in the future, have a world of a lot of people that are broken. This society that we live in now is bad. It's bad. Because the abuse was hidden in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, people are growing into adults that are broken themselves and can't function properly. Because people are turning a blind eye, or they're not giving the correct support. When you have a child is precious, right? But if we are broken as adults and we haven't recovered from trauma, then our children are going to suffer. Because a person like me, I'm on my own now. I don't want a relationship. I don't believe I can be in a relationship. I attract the wrong sort of men that treat me like crap, are narcissistic and abuse me. And until I've recovered from trauma, that's all I'm going to attract. And if no one will offer me support, counselling, intensive therapy, then I will stay single as I am. Because I cannot give myself to a person fully until I've recovered from the abuse that I've been through. I go outside today or tomorrow, whatever, I'm recovering from trauma. Almost everything, a smell, a sound, or someone's behaviour reminds me of what my father did to me. Now that's not paranoia, that's not a mental health illness, that's normal for someone that's been through what I've been through. Neither is it funny to feel like you're terribly, it's not just panic attacks outside, it's fear. But it's fear born from the abuse that my father did to me. So when characters like that Charlie come up to you and tell you lies, which he did, and at that time I was getting over with the things that had gone on in my life, I was wearing shorts, I was being myself, but he made me feel, that sleazy bloke made me feel terrible. So I stopped wearing my shorts. I stopped being me because of the things he said that make me feel sick. So even up to 2 years ago, I was going through stress in this flat from noise, but I was going out, I was going into the co-op, it didn't bother me. I was going up into the co-op lots of times. I was going on the field, walking the dog, being in clothes I wanted to be in. And that bloke comes up to me, I want to be your chaperone, I want to be your friend, I'm not interested in sex. And then he starts to try it on. Now that happened to me as a child, right? And every time I see that horrible bloke, it reminds me of what he said and what he did. It's not me being, boring. If you don't want to sleep with someone, you don't have to sleep with them. And if they force themselves on you, it's wrong, and report it. If they don't like it being reported, they shouldn't have done it in the first place. You don't turn around to somebody and say, I want to be your friend, I'm not interested in sex, and then you start fiddling about with them. That's a predator. It's also a liar. What he did was wrong. Because of that, that set me back. That set me back to what had happened in my childhood. It set me right back. And not only that, they were playing games. It was not just that. It was making fun of me. People making fun of me when they don't look all that themselves really gets to me. No, I'm no oil painting, but neither were they, the ones that were taking the mickey. And that's the best of it. They aren't models. They aren't good looking people. They're just ordinary members of the public taking the mickey out of me because they've got insecurities in themselves and things wrong with them. So putting all the attention on me. And I mean, there's loads of people doing it. It's a whole gang of them taking the piss out of me. So it shifts the ugliness of what they're doing onto me when it's them that feels insecure about the way they look. So all these people doing this massive bullying are all insecure about the way they look. Otherwise they wouldn't do it to somebody else. They would not need to. It's massive bullying. There could be millions of people taking their anger and frustration out on me because they feel insecure about themselves. It shifts the attention, doesn't it, on everybody looking at their face, looking at what they're doing. So there you go, calling me names, covering my Facebook with stupid comments that I have to keep removing, and my TikTok. They wouldn't be able to handle it if it was done to them. These women would be crying. I'm on my own. I've got no support and no one to turn to. Yet I'm still standing strong and going out there and saying, yeah, carry on doing it. I'm holding my head up high. I've got nothing to be ashamed of. You have. Because once it gets out what they're doing, they're all going to be exposed. All of them. Now I'm going to end this video, have my cup of tea, and I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. See you later.